When you think of the video game series The Witcher, there's one character that straight away comes to mind, the esteemed Geralt of Rivia. Geralt has a lot of backstory in the books. For obvious reason, he's one of the main characters. So today, I'm going to tell you a number of different things about his backstory from the books. There's a couple things I'm going to miss out on because I want to do them in a future video, but let's just jump into this video, and this is the backstory of the character Geralt of Rivia. By his name, you would probably assume that he is from the place called Rivia, a bit like how Yennefer is called Yennefer of Vengerberg, and Yennefer is actually called that because she's from Vengerberg, but it's a bit different for Geralt. It's a very complicated, and for now, all you need to understand that he doesn't actually originate from Rivia. Little was actually known about his early life, so we never really find out where he was born. What we do know, however, is that his mother was the sorceress Visena, and it is presumed that his father was the warrior Corin. Together the two defeated a Koschei, and it is widely believed that during that time, Geralt was conceived. Geralt's mother gave him up at an early age. There, she gave him to Kaer Morhen to be trained as a Witcher at the School of the Wolf. So like most witches, Geralt didn't really know his parents very well. He was trained to be a Witcher and survived all the blistering mutations that were required of him to pass the Trial of the Grasses. The mutations granted him greater strength, speed, endurance, healing, resilience, and complete immunity to diseases. Because Geralt was successful in his training and his mutations, Geralt was picked for additional mutations. As you might have deduced, Geralt became the only Witcher to ever survive these experiments, and as a side effect of the mutations was his distinguished white hair. This is why he is the only Witcher that in existence to have white hair. After his training was complete, Geralt set off into the world as a Witcher with, as you guessed it, his horse, Roach.
Hey, know how you always show up when I whistle? How's that work exactly?
Well, you're my human. Gotta be there when you need me. Yes, I'll be there for you, as the world falls down.
Still kinda strange. How you cross the ocean when I call sometimes, but then get hung up on the tiniest fence. What's that about?
What can I say? Everyone's got limits.
People, let me tell you about my best friend. He's a warm-hearted person who loved me till the end.
Geralt has a number of aliases that you guys might have come across, and one of the ones that is never explained at all in the game is where he is called the Butcher of Blaviken.
Master Dandelion's ballads, of course. The only way a humble merchant might hope to rub up against greatness. Unless, that is, he's as lucky as I am.
And runs into a very patient Witcher.
Into Geralt of Rivia himself, the Butcher of Blaviken.
And it is a very interesting story that, as I said, is never explained in the games. So, I'm going to do my best to explain a rather complicated story in the next minutes. Basically, a noblewoman named Renfri was looking for revenge on a sorcerer who had wronged her in a very complicated way, which I guess I'll get into in another video. The sorcerer, Stratibor, was hiding in a tower in Blaviken and asked Geralt to kill her. Geralt said no, and Renfri then asked Geralt to do the exact same thing and kill Stratibor, and Geralt still said no. Renfri and her bandits couldn't get into the sorcerer's tower, so they were about to kill all the innocents in the town until he came out. Geralt, not wanting the innocents to die, killed all of the bandits, including Renfri, in a bloody incident. The villagers thought Geralt attacked them for no reason, as they didn't know Renfri's plan. Because of the people he killed, after that day, people started to call him the Butcher of Blaviken. The love of Geralt's life, as you might have known, is Yennefer of Vengerberg, and he first met her in a town named Rind when his best friend Dandelion got in trouble with a shin. I will go over these events in a separate video for the pure reason that this is a very long-winded story and it plays a massive impact in the world of The Witcher because it is a really complicated and complex story as to how they came together, so look out for that in the future. Ciri became his adopted daughter after she was sworn to him by the Law of Surprise by Queen Calantha before she was born. Once again, I shall make a separate video on this entirely because there's a lot of backstory to this and a lot of detail in it entirely, and in order to fully grasp the situation, I would need a separate video. So just for now, just understand that Ciri was sworn to him by the Law of Surprise. If you played The Witcher 1, you already know that Geralt lifted the curse off the King of Temeria's daughter, and the story goes like this. King Foltest was in love with his sister Ada and decided to marry her and make her his queen. Ada fell pregnant bearing Foltest's child but died whilst giving birth. The child died, or so was thought to have done, until she re-emerged as Striga, a cursed child 7 years later. This is most likely because of the incest that was done in order for her to be born, but it is also rumoured that a jealous lover also cast the curse. Foltest didn't want the Striga to die and hired sorceresses and witches to lift the curse and give him back his daughter, and made them promise that they would not kill her. However, none of them were able to even come close to being successful. The curse, however, could only be lifted if someone was able to spend the entire night in the Striga sarcophagus. Geralt managed to lift the curse after successfully spending the night with the Striga, sustaining major injuries in the process. The Witcher was heavily praised for being able to lift the curse and was known all through the Northen Kingdoms. The final story about Geralt that I wish to tell you is about how he became Geralt of Rivia. Because the majority of the witches are orphans, none of them really had second names. Vesemir encouraged all of them to make one up in order to seem more trustworthy to their patrons. Not every witcher did, but Geralt definitely took it on board and invented a rather ludicrous name. Geralt decided he wanted to be called Geralt Roger Eric de Hort de Bellegarde.
Very. Back when I wanted to call myself Geralt Roger Eric du Haut Bellegarde.
What?
Tell you about it tonight.
Vesemir luckily convinced him it was a really silly and stupid, pretentious name, and to think of another one. Geralt, dejected, instead stabbed a knife randomly into a map. The knife landed on Rivia, so Geralt decided to call himself Geralt of Rivia, despite having no relation to the place itself. That was until one day when Geralt and his merry company, that being Cahir, Milva, Dandelion, and Regis, were in search of Ciri and believed that she was somewhere in Nilfgaard. They had to cross the Yaruga and couldn't take the bridge because it was guarded by Nilfgaardian soldiers, so they stole a boat and tried to go across. A group of soldiers from the bank then just started shooting at them. These were the soldiers of Queen Meve of Lyria and Rivia, who at this point were at war with Nilfgaard along with the rest of the Northern Realms during the Second Great War with Nilfgaard. Recognizing who they were, Geralt and his merry company tried to say that they weren't the enemy, but on the other side of the bank, the Nilfgaardians appeared in great numbers and started a humongous battle with the Rivian. Geralt and his crew found themselves in no man's land as both armies were on either side trying to get to the boat, and to make matters worse, something very unfortunate happened. All three groups found themselves around a bridge at this point, and the Milva, who was pregnant, started to have a miscarriage. Regis and Dandelion tried to help her, and Geralt and Cahir realized that they were sitting ducks and had to stop the Nilfgaardians, who would slaughter them. The Lyrians were getting slaughtered as well, so Cahir and Geralt got onto the bridge and rounded up the fleeing Lyrian soldiers and forced them to counterattack the Nilfgaardians on the bridge. Cahir, with his military experience as a leader, rounded up all of the soldiers, got them inspired, and was able to lead them onto the bridge. Inspired by their new leadership, the soldiers listened to Geralt and Cahir. By holding the bridge, they protected the Lyrian army's rear in a battle that was going on 100 yards away. Geralt and Cahir sliced and diced the Nilfgaardians and held the bridge, forcing the Black Ones to retreat. Because of Geralt and Cahir's efforts, the Lyrians won a battle that they were supposed to lose by an enormous amount. For his heroic prowess, Geralt was knighted on the spot by Queen Meve, and therefore dubbed Sir Geralt of Rivia, his title finally meaning something.
In the year 1267, a certain Geralt, a member of the Witches' Guild, was knighted by Queen Meve and dubbed Geralt of Rivia. This was in honor of his distinguished service at the Battle of the Bridge, said structure spanning the Yaruga. But I wager you know of which battle I speak.
Yeah, those were the days. Kahira and I led a fistful of Nordlings against an entire Nilfgaardian battalion. Won that battle just because we absolutely had to cross the river.
And that is it for the character Geralt of Rivia. There are of course many other stories that you might wish to know about Geralt, but they all deserve separate videos in themselves, including how Geralt first ever met Yennefer and how Geralt's entire life was destined to be a part of Ciri's. For now though, I hope this video has given you insight into the life of Geralt and his backstory and a lot of what his aliases mean. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please leave any comments or suggestions or anything you believe I need to do better. I just want some constructive criticism, and thanks for watching everyone. See you later.